Here we are, since you turned off your cell phone. How is your state of mind? The fact that it's more than simply a mental nudge makes it more challenging. It has evolved into much more than a mere voice throughout the ages. Emotions fuel and amplify what has become a kind of being, not really real, but appearing real enough when you conflate your own identity with the talking and reacting creature in your head. What the entity thinks generates its feelings, and the energy of those emotions serves to amplify the entity even more. How powerful that is differs from one individual to the next. The entity could be seen as a facet of karma, in a sense. A person's internal hereditary tendencies that they mistake for their own identity are what the Eastern concept of karma refers to. These patterns are recognized by consciousness. In some people, it manifests as a weighty, dramatic, angry, or melancholy creature that is quick to anger, vigilant for any perceived wrong or injury, and prepared to leap to its defense at the first sign of trouble. As you can see on TV or in real life, even challenging someone's perspective can trigger strong defensiveness or even violence. Because having a civil conversation about anything means detaching yourself from that imaginary being, it's really not feasible to have a calm conversation with that creature. You and the other individual have some distance between you. Firstly, within you, that is the most important aspect. The point isn't to force the other person to create room for you. Rather, it's to ensure that you have room to breathe while conversing. The other person's anger will make more sense if you observe it growing, but next to immediately assimilation into a mental stance. My ego. The creature reacts aggressively, barking in response to your approach. While it does happen in people, it also happens in certain dogs. A vicious dog's history is the sole reason for its vicious behavior. There is goodness in every dog, despite its nasty exterior. You or that other person's true nature lies beneath the sanity-defying exterior of the egoic entity. Being an impartial spectator or witness of your own mind is your duty whenever you are presented with these creatures, which you are constantly. Sometimes your own still takes over, maybe one or two of you still experience it periodically. When that happens, the egoic being can't control you anymore. A person's ego can be defined as their state of mind when they are not paying attention to anything anymore. Put another way, the state could be described as dreamy or unenthusiastic, as there is simply mind. When you're in this state, your life unfolds according to your dreams. As soon as they step foot on this planet, every individual is met with a unique set of circumstances. Misfortunes befall you, you respond. Without cognizance, the being responds. Its aggressive and defensive training dictates its reactions, leaving it defenseless against its environment. Its own condition is maintained. An incident that, to someone who is largely ego-free, at least in that domain, does not warrant much attention. As an example, if someone doesn't respond to your email, you can assume that they are too busy or don't even read it. It's worth noting that the other individual ignored my 3 separate letters despite my repeated requests for a response. This is how it all starts, and it grows into his terrible character. The entity fortifies itself when you shift your attention to other matters. This responsiveness causes it to develop and inflate itself. And small matter, this being gives each event a unique flavor. Everything has to do with me. They're attempting to harm me, he disregards me, and he has no right to do so. Thus, it develops. Subsequently, the emails escalate into furious accusations or phone conversations. "I'll get you" is the way it develops. However, it does occur, albeit in more extreme forms. It makes no difference how big it gets. What matters is that someone's lack of response becomes something terrible occurring to me. This may take up a significant portion of your time. Someone other might just state, "Oh, that's how it is." Some folks told me I should send Deepak Chopra a copy of The Power of Now when it was first published. I did it, in the hopes that he would read it. There were only 3,000 printed copies, and they had to be transported to bookstores in a plastic bag by carriage. I gave it to him in writing, but he never received it. It vanished into thin air. I can finally see the reasoning behind individuals sending books to me. No amount of time could be spent reading all of the books and manuscripts. Thankfully, though, that being was no longer running my inner self. Since Deepak had not responded, it was not grounds for complaint. You know what? It was as simple as that. Perhaps he read it but didn't enjoy it, or perhaps he didn't read it at all. Either way, he's probably rather busy. As soon as I make an interpretation, I'm engaging in projection, so trying to make sense of what you don't understand is a waste of time. It's merely the fact that it is. Actually, he probably didn't even notice it because he gets so many. Later on, though, when Path of Now was really taking off, he did pen an endorsement. That was lovely, but it was unnecessary. To make matters worse, I could have emailed him 20 times in a furious attempt to get a response, but to no avail. If you had told me up front whether I was Hitler or not, etc., I doubt he would have given his stamp of approval. Next steps are dictated by your response. If your reaction is purely self-centered, it dictates not just how events play out in the here and now, but also how they will play out in the future. The external world reflects the ego's internal state. Therefore, be careful when reacting aggressively, negatively, demandingly, or complainingly. Like sorting out a certain sound by yelling it into the world, you'll hear it reverberate. That is to say, the energy you expend, in the form of your words and deeds, will eventually return to you. People respond to your reactions for a variety of reasons, including their egos and the fact that they aren't completely enlightened, otherwise they wouldn't. A chain reaction of reactions is set in motion when you respond to their reactions. This is the progression of the drama, and it's all seen as genuine. Neither you nor the creature is aware that it is the one crafting the narrative. The only thing it's reflecting back to you is the external world's indoctrination, which it has internalized. Naturally. That then provides a strong indication that your original understanding of what happened was completely accurate. Since you pointed out, you see, his original intention was to deceive me, I was able to prove your point and confront him, which caused him to get enraged. It's really rough. You can understand the pointlessness of arguing with an egocentric entity or with a person if you've ever done it. It just won't happen. This self-centered thing will not listen to you since it knows it is deluded. Well, that's clear. No, you just make it stronger. Fighting the ego is hilarious in the end, but it's a ridiculous endeavor in and of itself. You can't help but be enticed by its unwavering victory. The moment you begin to dispute with your ego, you become mired in your own thought processes. People sometimes argue that karma is what happens to you, but what really matters is your reaction to those events. This is a part of karma, for the simple reason that it is the foundation upon which your life is built and the means by which your conditioning is maintained. How other people perceive you and interact with you are both shaped by this. Amazing. The pointlessness of reacting egotistically is something I see all the time. It's like bursting a gigantic soap bubble over nothing, then harping on it for days until reality proves you were right. It's a real snare. Since the emotional component of the ego makes up a significant portion of it, the denser the egoic entity in you, the heavier it is. The pain body represents the ego's emotional side. In reality, the egoic entity's emotional side is the pain body. Ego density is subjective and differs from one individual to the next. Thousands of people are online at once, so it's safe to assume that no one is listening to this from either location. However, this is the wormhole of the camera through which the words are reaching out, so there must be someone on the other end with an extraordinarily thick ego. If that's the case, they won't hang around for long, or else they'd turn off this ego-friendly device. How terrible! Hearing oneself praised is the one thing that the ego despises the most. This severe density of ego and pain body is probably not present in you, yet you nevertheless come across many people with it in your day-to-day interactions. Naturally, those individuals bring misery onto themselves and others. That's why they're here. They have reached that point in their evolutionary process. Their role is that of spiritual guides. They will be awakened when they recognize that the misery they are experiencing is something they have produced. However, it may be some time before they come to that realization. While you wait, they may try to bring you pain. Simultaneously, they accompany you, and as a result, they educate you by drawing you into your egoic unconsciousness or compelling you into more intense presence. So, one Indian spiritual teacher used the phrase ego Gs, G meaning respect, to describe those whose egos are quite thick. There are still a lot of ego Gs out there, and they're trying to teach you the importance of being present. Of course, they have no idea that they are contributing to humanity's developmental path in that way, but that is truly their role. Now that you've delved into this exploration, think about this. What if the challenges you've faced in the past are really opportunities to grow and experience more? If you found this journey meaningful, please show your appreciation by giving it a like. Also, be sure to subscribe to our channel if you're looking for more motivational videos and articles. Let us keep exploring these enigmas together, finding the wonders amidst the mayhem.